Hey, Jay.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. Tony kind of asked Evander about today, just having family and everybody here on a day where you can kind of look and put it into perspective with the journey that you're about to take and share it with it. Just kind of comment on that.
Yeah, you know, the way we looked at today was regeneration day. We're in the middle of 5 games and 8 nights with travel, some really tough opponents, and at a critical point in our year. So this was one of those days where some people went on the ice, other people stayed off the ice, did some work off the ice. In the end, it's about refilling the cup today, you're refilling the energy reservoir, and making sure that we're ready tomorrow versus Anaheim, because it's a huge 2 points on the table. And so to have, you know, family and dogs and, you know, lots of people around today, I think that's energizing sometimes. And it wasn't long at the rink today, but we tried to get better.
And how do you go about scheduling that? Like, do you wait till see what the result is last night, performance, or what do you do?
Sometimes it's feels, sometimes you have it in the back of your mind, and then other times it's scheduled. Today was something, you know, we're very clear with our players. So last week when we were coming into this 5 games in 8 days, you know, we had a clear understanding of how we wanted to use the days that were non-game days. I don't know if it's the perfect answer or the right answer, but we came up with the plan in partnership with our players. Tomorrow we'll have a morning skate and we'll be ready for Anaheim.
Jay, 2 important wins over 2 divisional foes in very different fashion. You see your offense on one side and then more of a defensive game, maybe more. Can you give me your thoughts on the dump and chase early in the first period of that game, maybe more than we've seen from you guys in a long time? What was the strategy behind that? Is it just you want LA to get back and you're better when they're trying to create turnovers off a dump and chase?
Yeah, so, you know, LA's in the position they're in because they play a certain way. You can fight it, or you can, you know, adjust your game a little bit to try and negate some of their strengths. And I think that's what we try to do. I think, you know, we played a hard game yesterday, a physical game, willingness to put pucks into areas where you have to work to get them back. And I think, as you said, the 2 games versus Vegas and LA, both very different games, but both in the end, we ended up with a win in each game. So it showed that we can win in multiple fashions.
You and Dave Manson don't necessarily hard match all the time, but last night, Nurse and Cece, very specific, you wanted them out against the Kopitar line. It was almost 100% of their time against them. What do you like so much of that pairing up against the Kopitar line?
Well, I think I thought that was maybe Darnell's best game of the year last night. And that's, you know, interesting to say because, you know, I think he's at a career year offensively. He's a plus machine. But what I liked about his game last night, I saw a level of hardness to his game. I saw somebody that contested every inch of the ice. And I think that pairing versus that line was something, you know, that's a big line. And they have experience in going up against that line, and that's why we played them that way last night.
Do you find that different players have different triggers that cause them to raise their game? Like you look at Evander, he's playing a big opponent. It's maybe a bit of a physical matchup, playing a team against that they played in the playoffs last year, or Connor maybe after a penalty. Do you find that as a coach, and is that something that you have to work to bring out on a more consistent basis, regardless of what the matchup is?
Well, I think, you know, the more people are around each other, the more you learn about each other and what type of stimulus people respond to. In the end, we're at the time of year where the best players in the world raise their level and rise to the occasion. this is when the team gets turned over to our players and our leadership group, and our guys have done a great job so far.
Hey, Jay. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, we've seen him here for a long time, and his game continues to evolve. What have you seen in him this year as opposed to last year? Well, how is he so much a better offensive player this year than maybe he was last year? He's still a very responsible defensive player, but what have you seen in his game that just make him on the cusp of getting 100 points this year?
Yeah, well, I think the thing that not a lot of people talk about is his selflessness. I move him around like everywhere in the lineup. Never says a word. He's someone who is team first, always has been. So it's ironic that he's on the verge of he's having his career year, but he's on the verge of 100 points while being versatile, selfless, team first, and it's going in the net for him. I think he's doing some things offensively at a more consistent rate this year, where his shots are coming from, where he's going to find offensive success, and that's all a credit to Ryan.
I guess having a player like that, I know you don't take him for granted. You're having a player like that. How important is it on a team to have a player that you can move up and down the lineup, put in the center, put on the wing, penalty kill, ability to play everywhere?
I think it makes us a more dangerous team when we have a level of versatility and a willingness to be pliable or flexible based on who we're playing, what the game is playing out as. And we have a lot of players in that category. But Ryan's certainly one of those guys that left wing, right wing, center, penalty kill, power play, 6-on-5, 5-on-6. He touches all aspects of the game.
Jay, Evander Kane had 7 hits in the first period last night. Was that a prime example of the team playing a foot taller when you have a lead by example?
Yeah, I think Evander's played 2 really good games in a row here in 2 big games against big division rivals versus teams that are ahead of us in the standings. I think when you're getting into those situations, finish checks are investments. And, he's one of our most physical players. He got in on the forecheck. He didn't mess around with the puck. It got in behind defensemen, forced defensemen to turn and solve problems. And then once they did, they still, they had to pay a physical price because Evander was going to make sure that, he finished his hit.
A question on Evan Bouchard's overall game, but more specifically on the power play. His ability to make high-pressure decisions in high-pressure moments.
Yeah, I think that's getting better and better the more experience he has with that unit. I thought Evan played a physical game last night defensively. Big reason why we came away with that 2 points was our physical attachment to the game, and that was up and down the lineup. Maybe a lot of people don't think that about him, but I thought he rose to the occasion and defended very hard yesterday.
How much does his ability to be almost every time getting the puck through the defender signify his hockey IQ?
Yeah, I mean, that's what he can do. That's what makes him special. He's got a big shot. When he gets it on net, it's heavy. He has the ability to get it past that first layer. I think he's also an underrated passer. Might be the best passing defenseman we have on our group that puts it in forwards' hands quickly. We're seeing his game kind of round into form at the right time of year.
Jay, Vincent Desharnais, of your top 60, is the one guy without any playoff experience. The last 2 games are as close as playoff games you'll get in the regular season. What did you make of how he's evolved, and what have you liked from his game now that the games have become a little bit more important?
Yeah, I think he's heavy. He's heavy down below the dots. He's heavy and makes people pay a price to get to our net. I didn't think his game in Arizona was at his standard. And I like the way he responded the next night. And I like the way he played last night against a hard-working LA team. He's not a 21-year-old rookie. He's comfortable in his own skin. He knows what he brings to the table. And while he might be a rookie in the NHL, and it is certainly the best league in the world, I feel comfortable with him. And he gave us good minutes last night.
Notice Ryan Murray on the ice this morning. I just wonder what the situation is with him, and seems late in the year to be working his way back, but is he still hopeful?
Yeah, he's feeling better and better. That's step one, is making sure that his injury is at the level where he can skate. And then he's put a lot of work in the weight room. He's put a lot of work in, on injured ice time. So today was his first kind of introduction with other guys on the ice with him. I think it's a good sign. If we can get him healthy and up and running, makes our D-core even that much deeper. Good, thanks, guys.